In 2001, one of America's most notorious serial killers was finally caught, but the shocking details of his crimes would leave the nation reeling. In 2001, one of America's most notorious serial killers was finally caught, but the shocking details of his crimes would leave the nation reeling. Gary Ridgway, also known as the Green River Killer, was a man who had been hiding in plain sight. He was a married man, a father, and a regular churchgoer, but beneath this facade, he was a monster. His crimes were particularly heinous, with many of his victims being sex workers and runaways. The first victim of the Green River Killer was found in 1982, but it would take nearly 2 decades to catch the killer. The investigation into the Green River Killer began in the early 1980s, but it wasn't until 2001 that the police finally had their man. The events leading up to Ridgway's arrest were complex and involved a combination of old-fashioned detective work and cutting-edge forensic analysis. The police had been collecting DNA evidence from the crime scenes, but it wasn't until they developed a new technique for analyzing the DNA that they were able to match it to Ridgway. The police were finally closing in on their suspect, and it was only a matter of time before they made the arrest. Ridgway's crimes were some of the most heinous in American history. He had murdered at least 49 women, and possibly many more. His victims were mostly sex workers and runaways, and he would often target them at truck stops and other areas where they would be vulnerable. The police were shocked by the sheer scale of Ridgway's crimes, and they were determined to bring him to justice. The community was also shocked, and many people were left wondering how such a monster could have been hiding in their midst. The investigation into the Green River Killer was one of the most extensive and complex in American history. The police had to sift through thousands of pieces of evidence, including DNA samples, fingerprints, and witness statements. The forensic analysis was also crucial in the case, as it allowed the police to match the DNA evidence to Ridgway. The police used a technique called PCR, or polymerase chain reaction, to amplify the DNA samples and make them easier to analyze. But just as the police thought they had finally solved the case, a new twist emerged. Ridgway's arrest was not the end of the story, but rather the beginning of a new chapter. The police discovered that Ridgway had been leading a double life, and that his wife and family had no idea about his dark secrets. The police were also shocked to discover that Ridgway had been able to evade capture for so long, and that he had been able to hide his true nature from those around him. Ridgway's trial was a highly publicized event, and it was covered by media outlets from all over the world. The prosecution presented a wealth of evidence, including DNA analysis and witness testimony. In the end, Ridgway was found guilty of the murders, and he was sentenced to life in prison. The public was relieved that justice had finally been served, but many people were also left wondering how such a monster could have been allowed to roam free for so long. The Green River Killer case has had a lasting impact on the true crime community, and it continues to fascinate people to this day. The case has been the subject of numerous books, documentaries, and films, and it remains one of the most infamous serial killer cases in American history. The case has also raised questions about the nature of evil and how it can be hidden in plain sight. Despite being caught, Ridgway's motives and psychology remain a mystery, leaving many to wonder what drove him to commit such atrocities. In conclusion, the Gary Ridgway arrest in 2001 marked the end of a decades-long reign of terror by the Green River Killer. The case was a shocking reminder of the darkness that can exist in human nature, and it serves as a warning to always be vigilant and to never take our safety for granted. If you're interested in learning more about the Green River Killer case, be sure to check out our other videos on the topic. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more scary stories and true crime content. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in learning more about the Green River Killer case, be sure to check out our other videos on the topic.